X-ray production by Nancy Law and Laura Ramirez.
The current travels from the control panel to the tube head through electrical wires in the extension. Changing the X-ray machine current or voltage settings alters the properties of the X-ray beam. Radiographers can change the current and voltage settings on the X-ray machine in order to manipulate the properties of the X-ray beam produced.
The current travels through the step-down transformer to the filament of the cathode. A small increase in the filament voltage results in a large increase in tube current, which accelerates high-speed electrons from the very high temperature filament negative cathode with a vacuum towards a positive tungsten target anode. This anode rotates to dissipate heat generated.
Pushing the exposure button activates the high voltage circuit. Electrons in the cloud are shot across the X-ray tube to the anode. X-ray photons are produced when the high-speed electrons from the cathode strike the anode target. When incident electrons strike their target, they convert their tremendous kinetic energy to atoms of the target material.
X-rays are generated via interactions of the accelerated electrons with electrons of the tungsten nuclei within the tube. The greater the mass or speed of incident electrons, the greater the energy and quality number of photons produced. As the electrons speed from the cathode to the anode, less than 1% of energy is converted to X-ray. 99% is heat.
The two target interactions that produce X-ray photons are Bremsstrahlung and characteristic interactions. Less than 1% of total kinetic energy of the incident photons produce these interactions. Brem's interactions are the more commonly occurring of the two interactions. It occurs when the incident electron interacts with the force field of the nucleus. This force field causes the incident electron to slow down or break, and then it diverts the electron's course. As a result, electrons lose energy and changes directions. It can occur at lower keV compared to characteristics. Energy that is lost during the breaking is emitted as a Bremsstrahlung photon, and the photon energy is exactly the difference between the entering and exiting kinetic energies of the electron.
Characteristic interactions. Incident electrons interact with an inner shell electron. It knocks it out of orbit and continues in a slightly different direction. The holes left behind make the atom unstable. An electron from another shell will immediately fill and drop into the hole, resulting in an emission of the X-ray photon. The energy created is exactly the difference between the binding energy of the outer and inner shell between which of the electrons dropped.
X-rays are generated within the tungsten anode, and an X-ray beam is directed towards the patient. Within diagnostic X-rays, most photons are produced by Bremsstrahlung interactions, and the average primary beam has a keV energy of only about 30 to 40% of the kVp. In Bremsstrahlung interactions, an incident electron interacts with the force field of a nucleus. When the negatively charged incident electron goes through the orbital shells and approaches the nucleus of an atom whose nuclear force field is much too great to penetrate, it causes the incident electron to slow down or break and diverts the electron's course. Think of it similar to driving a car through a road past many blocks or orbits, then almost colliding with a semi-truck. You would brake to avoid hitting it, and then slowly change your course, driving away from the would-be accident.
Characteristic interactions occur when the higher energy incident electrons interact with an inner shell electron that has less energy and knocks out the inner shell electron from orbit, leaving the hole and ionizing the atom. The incident electron continues to move but slightly different direction, similar to a car speeding down the road past many blocks and colliding into a car going speed limit. The speeding car will knock out the car off the road. The electron, which is the hole that is left, makes the atom unstable. Electrons from the next shell will immediately drop into the hole. The higher energy state into a lower energy state results in two shell being emitted as X-ray photons.